So you're probably wondering, why am I standing in the middle of the desert? And recently I got invited by Alliance Virtual Offices to do a review on their St. Rose location here in Las Vegas. Chances are you've probably been targeted by ads, or maybe you're just very, very curious about virtual co-working spaces that aren't WeWork. And there's a lot of rumors about WeWork, how it's shutting down, how they're kind of eliminating a lot of their premium services. I've been actually considering options. And as someone who's growing this YouTube channel, who has a high ticket sales advisory, someone who gets like calls from clients, Alliance Virtual Offices reached out to me too. So in today's video, we're going to break down whether this is worth it or not. For me, it's very, very convenient because it's close to home, but chances are you have an Alliance Virtual Office somewhere near you. They partner with like a bunch of different offices around the world, and I thought it was a really, really cool business model. So let's go inside and give an honest review. So not gonna lie, there are a lot of co-working spaces these days. In the past, these places were really, really popular with just business owners, but even if you're just work from home, it's very, very common for your business or the company that you work for to sponsor these places. Chances are you've been targeted for WeWork, Regus. There's a lot of different co-working spaces just popping up at the moment. And so things like cost, the pros and cons of a good WeWork or good co-working space is really, really important. So in today's video, I'm gonna go over the pros, the cons, the services, the pricing, and who personally I would recommend this for. And the people at Alliance Virtual Offices gave me this beautiful space with the Vegas skyline in the back. It is so beautiful here. Also sponsored this video along with a affiliate link. So if you decide to purchase any of their services, I'd be really, really grateful if you use my affiliate link. And it'll be my job to just give this as much unbiased review as possible and just really go over the pros and cons of an office space like this. And by the way, your boy is not perfect. I made some mistakes on this video. So the Alliance team did leave a few comments about a few corrections. So make sure to check those out before you purchase through my affiliate link. Now back to the video. Now it's time for the most important part of the review. It is their coffees and the break room. So whenever I go to anywhere like WeWork or any of these places, what I tend to do is bum off their free stuff. So each location is different, by the way, but this location, they have a bunch of Starbucks coffees and stuff with the syrup. So if you want to make your own vanilla latte or bougie drink, there's that. They also have a bunch of cool teas and stuff available, like another coffee machine, filtered water, and they also got some snacks over here. Probably not keto friendly at all, but there's that. And something I look for a lot in co-working spaces is like these small communal areas where you can just hang out, chill. So let me give you a tour of this location. Keep in mind, every single location is a bit different. So just keep that in mind. We're gonna walk outside. And the first impressions of this place is that it's like beautifully decorated. Who decorates the place, by the way? You don't know? You didn't do it. And they have these live receptionists, which is really, really cool. And as I'm walking around, there's also a break room over here. It's kind of cool because I see different types of businesses here. I see like a lot of lawyers, accountants, a lot of professional services here too, which is really, really cool. And then what kind of office place is without a mail and copy room? So we have mailboxes over here, a bunch of office stuff. And one cool thing around here is like they have these glass whiteboards everywhere with your staplers, paper cutters, all that sort of stuff too. But it's not a huge place. Like I said, there's like accounting services, tax services, a lot of those services. I'll do a walkthrough a bit later to kind of go over who I recommend this for, but that is a really, really quick overview too. And later, we're gonna go over kind of the office spaces and see what these office spaces are like. So I think a great way to just start is kind of go over the services that Alliance Virtual Offices have and kind of go over the main things and then go into pricing as well. So first of all, they have a few services like a virtual office. So you can set up your LLC here and get physical address here too. So that's like one really, really cool thing. The other thing that they have is a live receptionist. So if someone calls you, they can actually like pick up the phone and stuff, and you can actually triage the calls. So that's really, really helpful. From what I was told, their call center, you can provide them scripts, you can provide them decision trees too, and they'll take care of that. And it's really, really crazy. They're all US based, so you're not dealing with people like in the Philippines or something. It's literally, I was visiting the girls over there and there's a bunch of girls just picking up phones for people. There is also a virtual phone here. So it's basically, you get a dedicated number and stuff like that. And then there's also one of the rooms that I'm in right now is the flexible meeting rooms and office spaces and co-working too. So yeah, and each location is a little different. So this is their home location here in Vegas, but they do work with like other places and stuff like that. So every location is different. So it's best to see and check out like a location near you, and they're worldwide apparently. In fact, they have over 1,400 global locations, which is crazy. So let's go over the virtual offices first. So basically, this gives you a physical location that you can set your address from, and depending what city, they charge anywhere from 48 to like 80 bucks in San Francisco, right? And what's really, really cool about this location is that you can actually use it to set up a thing like LLCs and all that too. So when I'm thinking about all the plans that Alliance Virtual Offices has, it's all kind of a la carte. So as you can see, there's two different plans here. There's like the Virtual Office Platinum plan and the Premium Platinum Plus plan. And the only difference is that the higher one, actually, you get 16 hours of meeting room or private office time. Even though that they don't have an app right now, you can go through the website and actually book something ahead of time. And so if you ever need to meet up with a client in person, like one of these rooms, you can do that as well. The cool thing about these virtual offices, they actually have a front desk. So the ladies over there, they can actually pick up your mail for you and just like sign for packages and stuff. So it's really, really convenient. In addition to the LLC thing, you can actually open up bank accounts here. The lobby receptionist will like greet all the visitors, and especially if you're doing client-facing work, they'll just welcome them, and there's a waiting area over by the Christmas tree where I was just earlier. They also have something like an online notary included for registration. I need to ask them about that. But the real benefit here is like, sometimes you just want to keep your home address a little bit private, especially if you're a YouTuber or anything like that. It's just really, really good. Or if you're doing any client-facing work, that really, really helps too. The prices for these virtual offices can really, really differ. So what you want to do is actually go into your browser on the main website using your boy's link, by the way. Go under virtual offices, and you can type in your location. So I've typed in Las Vegas over here, and there's 11 virtual offices in my city. I've clicked this top entry over here. It will break down the Platinum plan and the Platinum Plus plan with live receptionist. That is the only difference as well. Also, if you want to book out a meeting room, they also have plans here, and they go hourly as well. So all you do is go to meeting room and then just look at the location you want with the hourly rate. And they also have co-working things per month as well, so that you can just work out of these places. Right now, I'm in the Eastern Henderson area at the moment because this was like closest to me. But it'll break down all the major amenities and all that sort of stuff too. So you can take a look at everything before you come in. We're in the break room right now. So let's grab a quick snack along with some coffee. Let's go for hot chocolate. Haven't had these in forever. So let's kind of go over some of the other services that they have, like the live receptionist services. So if you don't know what the live receptionist services are, it's basically when you have a real human, not AI, not someone in another country taking your calls. And so their main proposition is reducing distractions, regaining valuable time and focus. And based off their plans, they either charge $125 per month all the way to $260, depending on the amount of live answering minutes that they have. The benefits here is that they can schedule your appointments, there's unlimited local and long distance minutes, and they can take messages for you too. Something to note is that their team is open from Monday to Friday, 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time too. So those are when they're able to take the calls. And if you exceed your minutes, just know that they'll probably send you a invoice at the end of the month with those extra minutes that you go over too. So there's that. But if you just want their regular phone plan, their unlimited phone plan, kind of like a Google Voice, they have it for $30 per month, along with the other receptionist offers over here too. So you can just select one of these and purchase them over here. So in short, here are the average prices that we have for their services. But you just want to make sure to double check the website to see your pricing in your local area as well. Let's run some other tests for this co-working space as well. They even have recycling over here. Let's put my camera here. I'm actually in the copy room right now. Also, another important thing for any co-working space is actually testing the Wi-Fi speed. So it's about 11 down, 8.8 up. The internet is like not extremely fast here, but it's good enough if you're doing like live streams and stuff like that. It's nothing crazy to write home about, but if you do check out one of these places, especially for co-working, you want to double check the speed internet test before you come. So now that we've gone over some of the basic services here, let's go over the pros and the cons. So let's talk about the pros. So one of the things that I typically do is something called high ticket sales. So I'm taking a lot of appointments, booking appointments and all that. Sometimes people will call me back. One of the really great things is that for a live receptionist, you can get a US trained person for just $100 to $200 per month. Especially in my world of high ticket sales, a lot of times, like just one of my commissions could be about $500 to $1,000 for just one close. And having a live receptionist really helps. You don't have the crazy robocalls or that like weird voicemail type of thing. You get a real live human person based out of the US, which is really major. Some of the creative ways that I see myself using a live receptionist with is doing things like FAQs or positioning my calls for appointments, right? Because a lot of times I'm on phone calls or I'm on Zoom calls and I can't pick up the phone to schedule things in. It's just very disruptive. But what if I had a separate number where they can call and just have all the questions answered and just schedule in really easy. In addition, I think what's really helpful is like separating business and work. So by having a separate business line, I'm sure you could do it with Google Voice, but again, there's that extra service for the live receptionist, which I think is worth it over just like a voice over IP number, which I have as well. And the cool thing is that you can take, with the app, I believe, you can take calls from anywhere too. So let's say if I'm like in a different part of the country, you can just like take your calls there too. So that's the first pro. Now let's talk about the second pro. So something that I think about all the time is privacy, especially when you see all these YouTube streamers getting swatted and all this sort of stuff. Protecting your home address is so important. And so not only do you have a place to like set up your LLC or bank accounts or any of the private information, you can do that here. Another really cool thing is like, have you ever had those expensive packages like camera gear or computer gear where you have to sign for it? The live receptionist up front can actually sign for the packages and hold that for you too. So that's really helpful because sometimes I'm out and about and I don't want to stay home all day just to wait for a stupid package. And let's talk about another benefit is this beautiful office space. Not all of them have these large rooms, but for these large rooms, I can imagine getting about like 10 people in here and just having a common space to work together for meetings, for conference calls. They even got, you see that black thing over there? They even got the old school like phone things that you can conference with a big TV too. And the glass whiteboard in the back, which is really nice. One of the things I'm thinking about is like hosting one of my mastermind meetings here, just as a local gathering. And it's just really convenient. Everybody can just be in one place here. And along with having this common space, you can actually meet your clients here too, especially if you're in professional services, maybe you're an attorney, maybe you're an accountant, or you just need face-to-face access. These spots are really nice because it's just like a really open area and you can just walk in, do your work and just leave without having to pay a monthly lease or anything like that. And just to let you know, if you do decide to get an office, like a physical office here, they're all month to month from what they've told me so far. If you ever rented an office place, I actually haven't, but like usually you have to sign like a year-long lease or something like that. With the virtual offices here at Alliance, you can actually do month to month, which is really convenient, especially if you're a digital nomad, especially with us being so remote these days. If I want to take a trip to Asia and just want to cancel for a bit, that is an option. So I'm not tied to this place and wasting my money just throwing away cash if I'm not going to be here. And speaking about that, there's over, I think 1,400 locations around the world. world. So I think that is a really, really cool thing too. And of course, the common room. How can you hate free drinks, free beverages? Well, it's not free, you technically pay for it, but unlimited, kind of like being a buffet, but they actually a lot of locations have different amenities like this. But let's be honest, I'll be very, very honest with you. WeWork has kombucha, WeWork has cold brew coffee, WeWork has a lot of different other amenities and food and stuff like that. If you're just trying to get work done, I'm not looking to have all these different things, but it's functional, and it's good enough. I got a secret. Basically, I'm going to go over the cons right now, and I don't want them to hear me. So one of the cons is that there's not as much open areas as a WeWork and stuff where you can play basketball and whatnot. But like I said, that's something to consider, especially at this location. And like I said, not all the locations are like that. So check out your nearest Alliance virtual office. Another thing too is it can add up to quite a bit, especially when you're adding the live receptionist, the virtual office. You could be easily paying anywhere from $700 a month. But again, depending where you live, that might be cheaper than just getting a month-to-month lease too. Another thing too is that they just have a website. They don't have an app, and you have to do all your bookings on the app too. With places like WeWork, they actually have an app, but it's not as convenient. But it's the internet. I mean, you can probably figure it out. And of course, the last con, even though this place isn't like WeWork and doesn't have all the amenities of WeWork, I think one of the benefits is that it isn't WeWork, because when you go to a WeWork, you're like, okay, that's automatic co-working. But if you go into these offices, you kind of don't know. There's a bunch of offices here with a bunch of services here too, which is really, really interesting. So if you also want to get a physical office space, they actually have something like this. Now, for the demo room, I couldn't get one of those corner rooms with the view of Vegas, but this is pretty much a typical room here at the Vegas location. So let me give you a tour and all that. This is kind of a room here. I think it's about maybe 500 square feet. When I first came here, they actually had some rooms that had a window view. This is not one of those rooms, unfortunately. And of course, they have my favorite type of whiteboards with the glass and whatnot. Like I said, each one of these can vary in price and all that. And while we're here, let's kind of go over who I'd recommend this to and who I wouldn't recommend this to, because obviously it's not meant for everyone. So the first person I would recommend it to are people who do consultative sales, phone calls, or maybe you're like myself, you're doing high ticket closing. I think one of the major benefits, like we talked about earlier, is that live receptionist. And I would actually consider live receptionist if I'm working with a client, because just the positioning of one deal could make or break and just recoup all your costs. But it really depends on your average order value and your lifetime value of a customer too. One of the things I think about when I'm doing high ticket sales advisory is focusing on the highest leverage opportunities. And something like picking up calls, scheduling calls on my schedule, answering FAQs, that can be outsourced for not that much money, honestly. Of course, could you hire someone in the Philippines to do it? For sure. But there's something about supporting good old US of A with having local people just help you out. And because they have a pretty much call center or a live receptionist area, there's just a dedicated team to serve all the clients, and they keep track of all the clients that they're talking to as well. The second person I would recommend this to, your client-facing professional business. As I was walking around, and I'll probably show some of the signs as I'm here, is your professional and client-facing work is very, very important. So some of the businesses I saw were real estate businesses, attorneys, accountants, consultants, things where you just need to go in and have some face-to-face, those traditional roles. I mean, if only we could always do Zoom, but sometimes when you're dealing with more professional services, people just prefer to come in and work. Another group of people that I feel would actually benefit from this might be a podcasting space. For example, when you go to a podcasting studio, that can run you a few $1,000s sometimes. But for a fraction of the cost, you can actually, in the bright rooms like the room I was just in, you actually have a beautiful studio space that you can shoot your podcast. The only downside is unless you have a physical office, you can't really store any of your equipment here. This also helps if you want a separate like YouTube space or a place to just come in. The prices are relatively reasonable just to have your own equipment, set it up here, and just have your clients or your podcast guests come here. Like I said, I'm planning to host a mastermind here in the future as well. And let's talk about packages over here too. You want to keep your addresses private. Like I said, YouTubers and public figures, they often get doxxed and stuff. And so it would really be good if you kind of hid all that behind a separate entity. So like I said, you can set up your bank accounts here, you can set up your LLCs here, and just have things mailed here instead of your actual personal location, which on the online space, it gets pretty creepy. I've had my fair share of stalkers too. But honestly, I think the space would only make sense if it was like 10% of your revenue. So in the area that I'm in, probably I would want to make sure that I'm making at least $3,000 per month before even considering a place like this at all. But obviously, if you're in like a huge city, like Vegas is a nice city. It's not like the biggest city, but it's something I would consider before even purchasing this place. And if you are wondering who I wouldn't recommend this for, it's honestly if you're looking for a place just like WeWork. The advantages of a place like WeWork is that it's a younger crowd. You can socialize a lot more. But like I said, if you want a more professional setting with some more professional services, this place is actually pretty decent. And they've actually gifted me some live reception hours too, which is really cool. But as I'm wrapping up my review, I think one of the coolest things, and I'm actually doing this tomorrow because I reserved this place for 2 days, is like I can invite my friends to just like collab and vibe. And it's a really nice thing just to have an open room with this beautiful Vegas view back out here and just like have coffee, tea, all these things where we don't have to like go to a coffee shop. We can leave our stuff here. There's like plenty of security and cool people to meet here too. That is my review. Again, if you want to support me, please use my affiliate link. But yeah, which other places would you like me to review? Let me know and I'll see you guys later. Peace.